A perfect evening for baseball on the shores of the Allegheny as on this first Saturday of summer, two of the game's winningest teams over the past few seasons play the second of a four-game series as Fox Baseball Night in America presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Pittsburgh Pirates. With that, we welcome you inside the broadcast booth here in Pittsburgh with Hall of Famer John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian. Let's start with the Dodgers, John. They got here riding a six-game winning streak, and although they dropped the opener of this four-game series yesterday, it was another big night for Corey Seager, who as a rookie at the age of 22 has established himself as a true star in our game.
Yeah, he's doing it all. And when you think about somebody doing it all, you think of Clayton Kershaw, but a 22-year-old leading them in offense, that's the only thing they've done this year. Their team has not been a very good offensive team to this point. So when you think about the illustrious group he's trying to join, look at these two guys when they did lead their team in hits and homers and doubles and RBIs. Corey Seager is going to win the Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, and he's going to get some MVP votes. And they would love to keep. It's hard to the manager thinking, I got to go to a 22-year-old who's leading my team in hitting. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, the Pirates are led, of course, by an outstanding outfield, one of the best in baseball when healthy. Unfortunately for Clint Hurdle, that win is not right now. No Gregory Polanco today because of a leg injury. Starling Marte's foot is okay for him to start again tonight and go back-to-back games. The guy the Pirates really need to step up is their all-world center fielder, Andrew McCutchen.
They really do. This is a dynamic outfield, and for Andrew McCutchen, he doesn't have to be an MVP. He's just got to get close. His numbers are nowhere close at 239. Now, look, the Pirates got to pitch better as a starting rotation and a bullpen, but it would help if Andrew McCutchen, their leader, gets going because offensively they can get back in the postseason. Only 5 games out of the wild card. This is a team that's won a lot of games since 2013.
McCutchen and the Pirates try to make it 2 in a row over the Dodgers. They'll contend with right-hander Kenta Maeda on the mound for Los Angeles. The southpaw Jeff Locke gets the ball for the home side. Well, as we know, the Steel City, of course, has built its reputation as an industrial giant. Its baseball team is one of the National League's best. Along with the Dodgers, a pair of postseason teams from a year ago hope that their best baseball of 2016 is still to come. We're back with the lineups and opening pitch from Pittsburgh next. Roberts' Los Angeles Dodgers. Kike Hernandez, Justin Turner, and Corey Seager off the top. Trace Thompson bats cleanup for just the 3rd time this year. 5-time All-Star Adrian Gonzalez right behind him. Yasiel Puig, Scott Van Slyke, A.J. Ellis, and Kenta Maeda round things out against the 28-year-old left-hander Jeff Locke, making his 15th start of the year, as we take a better look courtesy of the Lowe's pitcher profile.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a theme of feast or famine. He's been really good at home. The road, you see the high numbers. And most of those numbers coming in the 2 previous games before. He did not give up a run against the San Francisco Giants. So if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates, you're hoping he can continue that last start, a gem. No runs, 6+ innings work here at home.
Kike Hernandez set to start us out tonight as game 2 of this 4-game set is underway in Pittsburgh tonight. First pitch of the night from Jeff Locke is in for strike 1.
What you're going to see is basically a 2-pitch pitcher. Fastball like that, sinker, and a changeup. That's what he relies on. An occasional slurve he'll throw in there.
0-1 to Hernandez, puts him behind quickly, 0-2.
One of the good things he also has going for him statistically is he's got a low batting average against on the first pitch. However, the Dodgers love the first pitch. There's a few guys in this lineup that feast off the first pitch, so that'll be a good in-game strategy to watch.
0-2 to Hernandez, and he's rung up on 3 pitches.
Most of his strikeouts are going to be down in the zone and off the plate. You see a perfectly placed, whether that was a strike or not, to Hernandez, perfectly placed 0-2 pitch.
Let's take a look at the Pirates defense behind Locke. Only 2 errors committed by the Bucks in their last 18 games. They are tight defensively with Friesen Jaso on the corners. Marte, McCutchen, and Matt Joyce gets the start in right for the hobbled Gregory Polanco. Well, Clint Hurdle yesterday enjoyed a milestone night in his managerial career. Here's Justin Turner to go to work with 1 away. Yesterday, the series opening win by the Bucks. Clint Hurdle's 1,000th career win as a manager. And it was a night that he was able to enjoy with his family here in attendance, including his parents that came in from Florida. A ball and a strike to count to Justin Turner. Really nice night for Clint, and he was able to take it in and put a little perspective on it with us today. Puts him in very good company. We'll visit with Clint a little bit later on tonight. 2 balls and a strike to count to Justin Turner, who enters play tonight just 2 for his last 22 against left-handed pitching. There are some curious splits among the Dodgers right-handed hitters. We'll get into that tonight as well. It's to 3-1 now. Corey Seager waiting on deck. The first pitch, or a first batter strikeout, registered by Locke, and he's now at a full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Justin Turner.
Yeah, you're right, Matty. I don't know why the numbers are the way they are. Sometimes you scratch your head and go, they got to work themselves out, because the Dodgers should not be as bad as they are against left-handers, average-wise in production. But Turner has definitely got it going of late. He is, since June 7th, you see the numbers, 328. He's a big part of that against left-handers. And as he calls time, Locke loves to work fast, which is good for his defenders behind him, not so good for the hitter in the box.
Here's a payoff pitch home to Turner, and he serves a ground ball out to shortstop. Jordy Mercer there tonight. 2 quick outs for Jeff Locke.
Well, this is what I think's got to happen for the Dodgers. Righties lock in, no pun intended, off a Locke. They've got to find a way to cure that bad average they have, other than Seager, against left-handers. And then for Pittsburgh, they've got to get 6 out of their starter. The numbers are so much better when they go 6+ innings, as opposed to not getting their starter through the 6th inning.
Keys to the game presented by the Lincoln Motor Company. Here is the aforementioned frontrunner for National League Rookie of the Year honors, Corey Seager, who starts play hot. 4 for 5 yesterday in the series opening loss. He has strung together a modest 8-game hitting streak. Sends one back up the middle, smothered by Josh Harrison. From his knees, he gets his man. Quit calling him a utility player. second baseman Josh Harrison with an exclamation point on a 1-2-3 first. Off their lineup that looks like this for the Bucks: John Jaso, Starling Marte, and Andrew McCutchen lead things off. David Freese, Matt Joyce, and Josh Harrison bat 4 through 6. Jordy Mercer, Eric Kratz, and Jeff Locke rounded out for the Pirates tonight. Well, for Kenta Maeda, it has been kind of a three-part season so far as we take a bigger look at his numbers courtesy of the Lowe's pitcher profile.
Yeah, it certainly has. You look at the start, he was making everybody forget about Greinke early, and then the next 5 was a little bit rougher, and the last 5 has been more like we saw to start the season.
His first pitch of the ballgame to John Jaso misses the corner.
Well, he's going to have an array of sliders. This is going to be one of those rare cases where a starting pitcher throws more sliders than any one particular pitch he has in his arsenal.
2 balls and no strikes to Jaso, and it is on the corner that Kenta Maeda lives. And right out of the gate, Dave Roberts has his defense stunted for Jaso. It's Corey Seager, the lone member of the left side of the infield for this infield overload, and it's now a 3-0 start to the count on John Jaso.
Well, I would call it a lack of confidence in his fastball because it's more of a show pitch. He won't go in hardly at all. He's trying to command the outside part of the plate, and obviously the first 3 pitches missing wide.
And a 4-pitch walk starts his night. You saw part of the infield defense for the Dodgers. Let's give you a look at the full picture here in the outfield. Scott Van Slyke makes just his 5th start in left field tonight. Trace Thompson in center. Yasiel Puig back off the DL and swinging the bat well in right. A.J. Ellis behind the plate tonight.
You look at the Dodgers, their catchers have not given him much production from behind the plate, but A.J. does a nice job behind the plate defensively. They have the worst production out of their catchers. That needs to improve a little bit for them to move forward. But right there is a classic case of going out there. You rarely see it after the first batter. A catcher goes out and says, we got to lock in on this fastball here.
Maeda still looking to throw his first strike of the night, and there it is to start Marte 0-1 rather. Well, in the discussion that we'll have throughout the night with the All-Star game less than a month away, John, there are certain players throughout the league who are slam dunks for San Diego on July 12th. This would be one of them. Starling Marte has had an outstanding start to the season, batting .329 to start play tonight, 3rd in the National League batting race. Yesterday, despite being less than 100% physically, he cashed in with his 30th multi-hit game, and that's the top total among all National Leaguers. He's stolen 20 bags. He has been the complete package this year for Pittsburgh. Falls behind here 1-2.
Yeah, he loves hitting at home, but so does just about every Pirate this year. But what he loves doing is hitting against right-handers, which you typically don't have that kind of average as a right-hander. Hitting .360 against right-handers this season. And so Marte, with that outfield that we talked about in the open, so talented, so good in so many areas defensively and offensively. If he can get his counterpart McCutchen, who's on deck, to kind of kick it in gear, the Pirates offensively are a scary team.
McCutchen bats next with the leadoff hitter aboard here to start the home half of the first. And Marte taking a little additional time. Recall the foot injury that had slowed him down. It actually prevented him from finishing the game yesterday. And that one bounces away from Ellis. A free 90 feet for Jaso. A walk and a wild pitch. Have a runner in scoring position before Maeda can record an out.
Now there's the slider. He just spikes it with what they call you when they don't get it to the plate. It's out in front trying to make that pitch break away from a right-handed hitter. He loves that slider, as I mentioned. He also throws a curveball and a changeup.
There are the splits John talked about for Starling Marte. By the way, that .360 against right-handers is the highest batting average by a right-handed hitter versus a right-handed side of the pitching mound since Nomar Garciaparra hit .269 against right-handers in 2000. On the ground is shortstop, and there's Seager with the backhanded pick. Throws high, but hauled in by the 4-time Gold Glover Adrian Gonzalez. Marte to third, and there's one away.
Well, that was a great read by Jaso, because any ball that's hit to that side, see the big lead right there? You've got to read this. Anything hit to center field side, you go. But because he got such a quick jump and the ball was chopped, he knew that Seager's ability to throw him out at third was going to be very difficult, as was the throw to first going to be difficult. So a great read and a runner in scoring position at third with less than 2 outs. And McCutchen puts it in play pretty much anywhere he's got a free RBI other than the pitcher.
It is Jaso at third with 1 gone, and now the 5-time All-Star Andrew McCutchen who takes a strike.
You heard the dugout right there all yell that that ball's down. They don't want Maeda to get that kind of pitch throughout the night.
You know, the Pirates have been notorious count jumpers all year long. They are very good when they offer it the first pitch. It's quickly 0-2 on McCutchen.
Now he's got to go into a little bit of a defensive mode. I don't know if Roberts will change his defense accordingly with 2 strikes. Sometimes a manager will start his infield back and then bring him in, which is what he's doing right now. They're creeping in. So with the defensive account of a hitter being down 0-2, you now allows your defense to try and prevent the run from scoring at third.
And he strikes him out. A big punch out for Kenta Maeda. Andrew McCutchen now just 3 for his last 17 with runners in scoring position.
Well, this is that slider we were talking about. You establish it off the fastball, see the late break. And McCutchen, who has not had his timing really good sit in at all this year, tried to get the barrel of the bat to the ball. That ball was outside the strike zone. So now they get a 2-out hit from Mr. Freese.
David Freese at 291 to start playing tonight. He, as John indicated earlier, like a number of Pirates hitters, has had a lot more success at home this year. He is nearly 80 points better here at PNC Park as opposed to being a visiting player this season. Trying to pick up Jaso at third and not waste a run scoring opportunity early. A strike, and it's 1-1. So this is the first time I've had a chance to watch Kenta Maeda in the ballpark with my own eyes. And I'm curious as we go along here, when you identify sliders for him, he's one of those guys that throws a quote-unquote slider, but it's really like 3 or 4 different varieties of that pitch.
Yeah, he's really good at spinning the baseball, and when you can spin the baseball and it's your first pitch that you can go to when you feel comfortable, you can create the breaks differently, and then you can slow it down with the curveball. It's rare and hard for a younger pitcher in this day and age to have both a curveball and a slider. What ends up happening is they become a slurve, the combination of a slider and a curve.
2 balls and a strike to Freeze. There's a big break on that ball, a curveball that time, and it's 2-2.
And what the curveball allows you to do, and I think it's one of the best pitches, because the guy going tomorrow that we can talk about, Clayton Kershaw, that's what he's known for. But to be able to change the eye level when you're consistently down with a fastball and a hitter sees that ball kind of start with the arc up, it's harder to pull the trigger.
2-2 hit on the ground to Seager, and Kenta Maeda is in and out of trouble to start the night in the home half of the first. Nothing for the Pirates. They leave a runner. We go to the second. No score in Pittsburgh. Galaxy S7 Edge. A reminder, baseball's 2 biggest summer events back-to-back. The T-Mobile Home Run Derby on ESPN July 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern, and the very next night, don't miss baseball's biggest stars, the 87th Annual All-Star Game presented by MasterCard, July 12th, right here on Fox. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern. Getting closer and closer, and we'll continue counting down the days toward the All-Star Game, profiling the potential All-Stars in this matchup. Here's Trace Thompson leading things off in the visitors' half of the second. Thompson, Gonzalez, and Puig for Los Angeles. Well, Trace Thompson, one of the right-handed hitting outfield options for Dave Roberts, who gets the start tonight in center field and bats cleanup for just the 3rd time this year. There are a number of moving parts in, when healthy, a very crowded Dodger outfield. Howie Kendrick has proven his versatility playing infield and outfield this year. He sits tonight, and it's the group that you saw earlier of Van Slyke, Thompson, and Puig. They get the opportunity against Jeff Locke.
It's almost been a little bit of a problem for the Dodgers. Carl Crawford getting released, Ethier hurt, of course Kemp traded. The outfield issues, usually they will tell you, work themselves out. Somebody gets hot or there's an injury. Of course, Van Slyke coming back. But if anyone saw this coming out of Trace Thompson, you are pretty good at predicting.
Line to shortstop and gobbled up by Jordy Mercer.
Second baseman up the middle, but shortstop pretty traditional, is right there. Not a problem.
So one gone now for the 5-time All-Star Adrian Gonzalez, who checks into this one at just 267. Very un-Adrian Gonzalez-like numbers. He has been under 200 over his last 15 games. And almost mysteriously has watched his power numbers decline to career lows.
You see they got the shift on Gonzalez.
Beats that on the ground to Jaso. Shift works well, and there are 2 away. 5 up, 5 down for Jeff Locke to start tonight.
Well, that's been the theme really for the Dodgers. They've been all right the last 7 days, actually hitting pretty good. But left-handed pitchers, as we mentioned, they're 29th in baseball. And in June, they have been really struggling at a 230 clip. So even though they've won some games, the first game they've lost in their winning streak got snapped last night. They've got to get better production out of Gonzalez, and now Puig coming back and trying to stay healthy, because the Dodgers are in the midst of the undercurrent of the San Francisco Giants just absolutely blitzing their last 40 games.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about, you know, the Pirates trying to chase down the Cubs. The Dodgers are tasked with the same thing. Fine start to the night for Jeff Locke. Another 1-pitch at bat for Yasiel Puig. He leads the league in those, and there's no score in Pittsburgh. Is sponsored by T-Mobile, bringing you greater coverage of tonight's game. Coverage from all around the Ohio Valley. We welcome you back inside the ballpark in the midst of a scoreless start to the night. Back with Hall of Famer John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian, as Matt Joyce sets in to open the home second. Joyce, Harrison, and Mercer against Kenta Maeda.
Joyce has found a home here and certainly loves hitting here at home. 6 home runs already at home and a .350 batting average. The Pirates have been known for always trying to find different players to mix and match, platoon a spot here or there, and of course catch lightning on the bottom of a starting pitcher or two.
The slow breaking ball misses the corner of ball, and no strikes to Joyce.
And unfortunately this year they've not been able to do that consistently enough from their starters, but their offense has done enough to put them in a position to be much better, have a much better record than they have.
1-1.
Here's the change velocity on a curveball that starts up. Matt tries to stay back as long as he can. They employ the shift on him as well. Seems like to be just about every other player in the game now has a shift.
And it's a ball and 2 strikes. That one on the corner. And that is where Maeda lives. And if he's going to get a generous corner like that, he's going to be awfully tough to solve tonight.
He will. And if he throws any fastballs for strikes, he'll be tough to solve. But you saw what Joyce is trying to do. That's an easy base hit. All he's got to do is bunt it past the mound. There's nobody in the area.
Little excuse me check swing right at the lone member of the left side of the infield. Well, Matt Joyce would love to have that whole plate appearance to do over again. And there's one gone to start the home second.
Just a check swing, and if it would have gone any further to the left, that would have been a much more difficult play. See what the Dodgers do. They keep Seager at shortstop and bring their third baseman over to the second base hole. Speaking of second basemen that I have enjoyed watching play has been Josh Harrison. He is no longer one of those bench guys that comes in and a utility guy.
An all-star back in 2014. Harrison could make an outside case to go back to the all-star game again this year at .290 batting average. Missed a little injury time earlier this year. But a vital cog in whatever success the Pirates are going to have this year. Talk about watching him play defensively, Johnny. Made a great play to end the first.
Watch this last glove movement right there. Judging the hop, getting from his knees, throwing. This little glove athletic move, and this guy can do it all.
Back to Maeda. And there are 2 quick outs in the second. You know, Kenta Maeda is, and I'm curious about your thoughts on this, he is just funky enough to be problematic if you're trying to solve him at the plate. And we all know that so many of the great pitchers that have come over from Japan, they have that hitch. They've got that little pause. Maeda has it. He's got a 20-mile-an-hour difference between his slow breaking ball and his fastball. Lives on the outside corner. He is just different enough to be able to have the kind of success he's had so far here in the States. Here's Jordy Mercer now with 2 gone.
Well, the one thing talking to the Dodgers, they'd love to see a more confidence in that pitch right there, that fastball. He's got a little bit of a pause, which you see a lot when they come over here. He's adjusting to the American style of every 5 days, which, by the way, when he gets more than 5 days, he's undefeated 4-0 because they're used to pitching once a week. But it comes down to fastball command because the secondary stuff's real good. But if they don't have the fastball command, the hitters eliminate that secondary stuff.
You talk about how good he is with 5 or more days rest, undefeated in that category. Also undefeated on the road this year, 4-0, 2.14 away from, I'd call it pitcher friendly Dodger Stadium. It's not ridiculous pitcher friendly, but there's enough foul territory there and enough marine layer air to make it a place that most guys like to pitch in.
Yeah, no doubt. Love going there where the ball traditionally does not carry as well. Good mound, as you would think they would have with some of the studs in the history of their organization.
So he's on the road today and working with extra rest today. And having some early success. Thompson and Puig negotiate the high fly ball to make for a 1-2-3 second on behalf of Kenta Maeda. better results than the ones he's posted to start this night. 6 up, 6 down as he goes back to work in the third against Scott Van Slyke, A.J. Ellis, and then his opposite number, Kenta Maeda. Van Slyke, who has previously been one of the Dodgers' big weapons against left-handed starting pitching, has struggled for continuity so far to start 2016, batting under 200 to start play tonight. A ball and a strike from Locke, and it's to 2-1 now.
You see Van Slyke, and a lot of it's going to be the timing. You see his hands where it starts, and then watch where he goes with his leg. He's a little bit of an open stance, then he closes and looks like he's ready to attack.
Popped him up. Jaso yielding to Harrison. You know, the search for continuity is also something that Jeff Locke has struggled with in his brief major league career. One gone for him now as he goes to work on A.J. Ellis. Locke was an all-star a couple of years ago in 2013. He won a career-high 10 games, but 8 of those victories came before the All-Star break. It looked like the Pirates were on to the next great thing. He got into the break that year at 8-2, a 2.15 ERA. After the All-Star break in 2013, Locke regressed and hung an ERA of 6.12.
Well, for Locke, he's made a mechanical change this year because he has gotten into some funks. He used to have a really good hip turn not too long ago. You look here on the left. Now watch how far he turns his back. So the hitter's going to see the number, and then he gives that kind of deception where he hides the ball. And then what he's done is he's condensed it a little bit. You watch just a little bit of a turn, not the full number, and it's just simplified his mechanics, trying to get him back locked in, no pun intended, on the strike zone on the inside and outside corner. He reminds me a lot of Tom Glavine. Of course, Tom goes on to win the Cy Young and the Hall of Fame, but basically fastball changeup, doesn't give in, doesn't let the hitter feel any comfort at all. It's a comfortable 1 for 4, 1 for 3, 0 for 4 when Locke is doing his thing, throwing strikes.
As he appears to be tonight. A ball and a strike to count to Kenta Maeda. And that might look like a really subtle adjustment, but something that Ray Searage, the outstanding pitching coach of the Pirates, had worked with Locke in spring in Bradenton, Florida this year, just to try to find a little more continuity.
That is a bad break from it. Kenta Maeda, he's got a shin guard on. He's a pretty good hitter, by the way. Shin guard on his left foot. He hit it off the back foot. I was never good enough to pull a ball to hit it off my back foot. Watch this right here. It comes and bounces, I guess, right there almost between the legs.
He's been dinged up a couple times at the plate this year. He's been hit by pitch twice. Almost hit his teammate Kike Hernandez in the on-deck circle on that foul ball.
Talking to his manager, he said he's a tough kid because he has not come out of the game being hit in a line drive. In the hand, stayed in the game against the Mets, went on to win that game, hitting the shin. And he said he can handle it. He can handle the running game. He can handle the bat. And now he's learning how to progress on the mound, making the necessary adjustments in this league.
Locke a strike away from a perfect 9 up 9 down start to the ball game. His 1-2 pitch, and we'll try it again.
You know, for Locke, as well as most of the Pirate pitchers, they're missing Cervelli. Much lower ERA with Cervelli behind the plate. Of course, they brought in Kratz because Stewart was banged up. He's got a much higher ERA when Stewart's behind the plate. So the Pirates need to get that guy behind the plate as soon as possible.
And Maeda serves a slicing fly ball into right field. It'll carry all the way to Matt Joyce. 9 up 9 down for him to start the ball game. No score in Pittsburgh. looks to lead Argentina to their first Copa America championship since 1993 as they take on defending champion Chile in a rematch of last year's title game. Coverage of the Copa America Centenario final begins tomorrow 6:30 Eastern on FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. For the bottom half of the third, it'll be Eric Kratz, then the pitcher Jeff Locke, and top of the order John Jaso against Kenta Maeda. Been only one base runner tonight, and that was a leadoff walk issued to Jaso. He would be stranded at third, so this game's still searching for its first base hit tonight here in the last of the third inning. Kratz checks his swing and holds up.
Well, for Locke and Kratz, the last time they hooked up, Kratz hit a home run off of Bumgarner, and it proved to be the only run that they needed in a victory. And last night broke a stretch, not a good stretch for the Pirates, of which winning a game if they gave up more than one run. They had not done that in a long time.
It's an unbelievable stat. There's a breaking ball in for a strike.
And that's amazing. That's feast or famine. That's giving up no runs, and obviously you're going to win, versus the inability to give up more than one run, and that meant a loss. That's the kind of stretch run they're in right now.
Well, I got one for you as far as funky stats, and it regards Eric Kratz. Kratz is a Pennsylvania native, so he's playing in his home state here. Did you know that Pennsylvania teams since June 8th, I know I'm really cutting it up with the fine brushes here, talking about the Phillies and Pirates, are 5-27. Wow. It's the lowest winning percentage Pennsylvania teams have had over a 30 or more game stretch since 1900.
There's another thing I could throw out about Kratz. He's got the same haircut that I've got. See that when he took off his helmet?
That's the prospect look.
That is the prospect look.
A swing and a miss, second strikeout for Maeda tonight. And speaking of haircuts, our Just for Men stat, great looking hair made easy, Eric Kratz. Now that we're emptying the bucket on weird numbers regarding Kratz, first player since 1879 to pitch and catch for two different teams in the same season. Did it as an Astro as well. I mean, that's one for the back of the baseball card, but it's not one that you ever intend on having put out there.
No, so you certainly don't want a position player pitching. You know, in the entire time that Bobby Cox was the manager, he never let a position player pitch in a game.
Really?
Yeah. He felt it was disrespectful, and I'm sure he had other reasons, but he never let a position player while he was managing.
But he would let you guys pinch run.
Pinch run, pinch hit.
1-1 home to Jeff Locke. Curveball's in for a strike.
There you go. Very nice. Low maintenance. Scott, that's the way to go.
That's no guard on the buzzer. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That is saving a lot of money.
That's a lot of work. I mean, John Jaso, he doesn't wake up looking that pretty. Got to put that through the whole ringer. Locke put through the ringer. Third strikeout for Maeda. Let's give you a little video of the week that was for Eric Kratz. Monday, Giants and Pirates hit the home run against Madison Bumgarner. This would be the only win of the series for the Bucks, the only run of the game. Tuesday, Pirates down 15-3, and he struck out Brandon Belt.
See, he's
fly ball to Andres Blanco.
See that right there? He's not used to being on the mound because he dropped the shoulders. He thought that was gone. He wasn't used to the sound of the bat from that perspective yet.
2 gone now. Base is empty for John Jaso, who drew that leadoff walk, got to second on a wild pitch, and was eventually stranded at third base. Trying to pick up a modest 4-game hitting streak tonight. Jaso takes a breaking ball for a strike, and now it's Maeda, John, working with some urgency. He's in a real rhythm here early on.
Yeah, once you start establishing your fastball command, you start feeling good that you can flip any pitch you want up there.
2-1.
The Dodgers bullpen has had to log so many innings, as does the whole of baseball. I mean, I could say that about everybody, but with the exception of Clayton Kershaw, who I'm sure they worship and love because it's a day off every 5 days. They're looking for some consistency in their rotation to fill some void, because Maeda has only been able to be successful through 6 innings because once he enters the 7th, it's not been good at all. Yeah. So, going in, the manager's thinking about his bullpen from the day they know we're penciling in Kenta Maeda.
Well, over the last 13 games, the Dodger relief corps has logged almost 48 innings. That's over 3 innings a game. And they went 4 innings yesterday in the series opening loss. Jaso puts it in play to the right side. And that'll do her on a 1-2-3 third.
Yeah, that's a third baseman making that play.
On the twist, and by Cialis. Well, the first third of this one is in the books. To the top half of the 4th, a high over the Steel City and back inside PNC Park with Hall of Famer John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian, and the top of the Dodger order against Jeff Locke, Kike Hernandez, Justin Turner, and Corey Seager.
Dodgers got to do something to break up the rhythm. A good rhythm so far. Nobody's been able to get on base, so they haven't checked how he's been out of the stretch.
Sharply hit to shortstop. Mercer picks it up and throws him out. And that's 10 in a row retired to start the night for the Pirates left-hander. Here's Justin Turner now. Turner grounded to shortstop as a part of a 1-2-3 first.
This kind of guy you got to really play some cat and mouse games with Turner, because it always looks like he's locked in to hit that fastball with the way that he opens up and the big leg kick. You see him starting with a changeup. You got to mix and match because this guy's starting to get hot.
Got a feeling that the driver of that thing, or at least the guy behind the horn, knew when the Dodgers were hitting. That was mid-pitch when he blew that horn.
Yeah, he'd be the same guy that drives by a golf course and the guy's getting ready to hit one and he honks the horn.
Most of the power damage comes against right-handers. Unusually so for Justin Turner. There's a fly ball out for Matt Joyce, and there are 2 away.
That's a great sign so far for the Pirates. If you're looking to get Locke going again, he gets better with each out. So the problem been with nobody out. They were hitting a high average about 361, and then for each category there it gets better and better. And right now he has been from the very beginning with that one hit that was robbed from Seager, who's at the plate. There've been a lot of easy outs.
Seager grounded out to second base to end the first and is behind 0-1. This would be exactly what the doctor ordered for Clint Hurdle and Ray Searage, to have somebody else step up and give them some consistency among the starting 5. Garrett Cole still on the shelf. And if you take away Garrett Cole's 2.77 ERA, the rest of the rotation has amassed an earned run average over 5. Locke misses low. It's 2-1. Francisco Liriano has struggled this year. Jeff Locke on the mound tonight, an ERA of 5.44 to start play. 3 balls and a strike now.
In the last 7 days, they're dead last. It's been a rough stretch, and they're facing the Dodgers and the Giants back to back. Their schedule doesn't get any easier until really after the break. They get a reprieve. They're going to have to fight through this as a team that has been through so much before. They got to fight through this part of the schedule.
On the ground to the overloaded right side, and that's Mercer on the second base side of the bag to retire the side. 4 perfect innings by Jeff Locke to start the night. In Pittsburgh, Starling Marte will lead things off in the home 4th. Marte, McCutchen, and Freese against Kenta Maeda. Scoreless early on tonight. And Maeda starts Marte with a strike.
See the first pitch slider because he's been pretty aggressive as Marte leads the team in first pitch hits.
quickly 0-2, and both of those pitches on the outside corner. That's where Maeda lives. Over 70% of everything he throws ends up on an outside corner.
Yeah, he's really good to each side of the corners of the plate. The umpires had a nice strike zone tonight. I tell you, you know that right away when you're on the mound and you get scouting reports of the hitters. You know everything there is to know, right? There's also the tendencies of the home plate umpire and certain abilities that they have to call what would be tight corners or a little bit more you can get off the plate. And so tonight you got to feel good if you're both starting pitchers, knowing if you make your pitches and the catcher doesn't move, you're going to get rewarded.
And A.J. Ellis is known as a guy that can coax an additional strike or two out of a 9-inning night. I know you guys, those Atlanta staffs that you started with, were famous for that, and I know what you're going to say. That wasn't me, that was Glavine and Maddox. I get it. A swing and a miss, and Marte goes down swinging. That's 4 for Maeda. Well, as we mentioned, last night's series opening win for the Pirates was Clint Hurdle's 1,000th managerial victory, an accomplishment that we asked him to reflect upon between innings.
The first thought I had was I thought back when I broke into this thing, and I'd look across the field and I'd see Torrey, and the next week I'd see La Russa, and then I'd see Cox, and then I'd see Leland. I kept telling my players, you guys really need to play well because I'm going to get outmanaged. I can guarantee you that. I got a couple calls today from some of those guys, so that's just special and significant. My mom and dad are here. My daughter Ashley was here. 2 young kids, Maddie, Christian, my beautiful wife, and fantastic family time as well. So very blessed, very fortunate. 2 organizations have entrusted me with this opportunity.
Clint, thanks for the visit. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Well, for Clint Hurdle, you can imagine what that's like. He's been in the game a long time. He's amassed a lot of wins and losses, and like to stay in here and keep the Pirates relevant as he has the last 3 years.
Yeah, he was talking about getting phone calls from some of those legendary managers that he has matched wits against, and as he was telling us about some of the calls he had gotten, one came in from Jim Leland.
It's quite a fraternity, those guys.
3 balls and a strike to count to Andrew McCutchen.
Well, for McCutchen, they started out this season putting him in the number 2 spot because they had figured out analytically, did the Pirates, that this was the spot you put your best hitter. He's going to get 30 more at bats per year. And unfortunately, that has not worked out, so they've moved him back to the 3rd spot, and he's really been dealing with a little bit of a jammed thumb on his top hand, so he figures lightening that grip up has helped him a little bit of recently. But it has been a rough stretch, a cold stretch that he would like to unlock and get hot again.
The full count pitch to him. He's fouled away at the plate. You know, Andrew McCutchen is not one to make excuses, and it reminds me a little bit of the situation he was in at the start of last year when he started out so cold. He had a hip injury that he refused to allow as an excuse. Although it was really a part of what was going on. It was the reality, and I don't know if that thumb is bothering him more than he's letting on, but the start to this season is very un-Andrew McCutchen-like. The 3-2 pitch to him. It's rocketed to left. Now that's Andrew McCutchen. Number 11 for the 5-time All-Star.
Much better. He has one of the quickest bats, but it's been a little bit of a timing issue, and you can see the timing right there. Comfortable, short, compact, quick bat on a breaking ball that hung. That might be a good sign for the Pirates because McCutchen has hit 7 home runs coming into this game. And games that Pirates have won, we'd like to make that 8.
And now David Freese, first run of the night on an Andrew McCutchen solo shot. And David Freese follows with a base hit back up the middle.
And for Andrew McCutchen, he started in a 3-0 count, worked his way back and swung at a couple pitches, swung at a 3-1 pitch and missed it. So this might have fed it into another breaking ball, but this one hangs longer and he just stays right there, compact, and the barrel goes through. You see the belt buckle come through. Everything feels good when the ball comes off the bat. And you're going to know as a pitcher right away, this is not anything you have to worry about. Oh, yep, just wait for a new ball. Been there, done that.
First 2 hits of the ball game on either side. The McCutchen home run and then a David Freese single.
Tried to go into David Freese, and that's the one weak area for Kenta Maeda, and that ball leaked out over the middle of the plate, and David Freese just went right up the middle.
So now Matt Joyce, he has grounded a shortstop tonight. The solo home run, it's been something of a theme throughout Major League Baseball this year.
Yeah, the home runs are up, Matt, but the runs are not following the home runs at the rate you would think.
It's a very curious equation. Home runs are up at a near record level this year. There's a bouncing ball to first, misplayed by Gonzalez, and he's got to get to the first base bag to do it himself. Adrian may have been thinking about initiating a double play ball there, and the ball just squirted free. 2 gone.
And I'll tell you the other thing that happens right here. If Freese knows what this situation was and doesn't slide, he can go all the way to third base, because if we follow this ball and trace it, Seager is, after this play, having to run to third base because of the shift. That's what the shift caused a problem in. But of course Gonzalez couldn't come up with it, and Freese, you can see right here, has got his back to it, so he's got to slide. But once he gets to the bag, if he recognizes quicker, he could have gone walking or a little jog in front of Seager, beating him to third base, because he was the only guy left on that side of the infield.
A 2-out runner at second now for Josh Harrison. You know, back to that home run number. The average in baseball right now is over 1 per team per game. That's the third highest average all time. And again, we got a lot of baseball left to play. But if that pace continues, there would be a record percentage of league-wide runs scoring via the solo home run. The home run in general. Entering play today, almost 40% of the runs scored have come on the long ball.
There was a game earlier this week, or in the last few days, that had all the runs. 8 solo home runs. 8 solo home runs accounted for all the runs on both teams.
The Rockies Marlins game earlier this week.
That's amazing.
Yeah, mix in an RBI single. Something.
Well, this guy's pretty good with runners in scoring position, hitting over 300.
Harrison sends it on the ground to Seager, who gets it over to Gonzalez to retire the side. But the seal is broken on the scoreboard on Andrew McCutchen's 11th home run of the year at the end of 4. The Pirates lead at 1-zip. First time tonight, the solo home run by Andrew McCutchen providing the first bit of offense this evening. So a slim margin of error, but one nonetheless for Jeff Locke as he goes back to work, having not allowed a base runner through the first 4.
If you're the Dodgers hitters and you're trying to go up there to pull the baseball, you're in trouble because he lives on the outside. You just react in if he throws in. But you cannot have a mindset against Locke, who likes the ball down and away and will work a changeup. Much like Glavine, if you went up there to pull the baseball, you were going to get a lot of outs, a lot of ground balls. You have to give yourself up, think the other way, and react in.
Fastball misses inside. It's 2 balls and a strike to Trayce Thompson. Adrian Gonzalez next. Yasiel Puig in the hold. Two and two.
Talked about the nice stretch he was on. Won 4 in a row as we see this fastball a little bit higher than you're typically going to see, a 4-seam version. Give up 11 runs and 7 runs in consecutive starts on the road. His last 2 at home been pretty darn good.
Thompson sends it back up the middle. Harrison was in exactly the right spot. And the Dodgers center fielder retired to start the 5th. A lot of options in the LA outfield among right-handed hitters. And we visited with Dodgers skipper Dave Roberts about how he decided who he was going to play tonight in Game 2 of this series.
Well, I think tonight, I wanted to get the righty bats in there, and Yasiel starting to swing the bat well, so wanted him in right field, and Trayce Thompson, has matched up pretty well against left-hand pitchers, and so I wanted to get him back in the mix. And I think for me the big question was Kendrick or Van Slyke, and how he has a propensity to hit the baseball on the ground, so I wanted somebody to maybe have a chance to elevate, and Locke's been victim of that home run ball from right-handers, so I want to take a shot at some slug tonight.
Yeah, we know how great the pitcher is tomorrow, but what a luxury it is to manage before he pitches. You can be a little more aggressive with your bullpen, I imagine.
Yeah, you never want to tap into the bullpen if you don't need to, and Kenta, just gave up that home run, the 3-2 breaker to McCutchen. But yeah, when you got Kershaw going the next day, for sure you can kind of empty that a little bit more.
Well, one of his best chances, Dave Roberts, that is, for a home run ball for somebody to run into something, is neutralized in part. Adrian Gonzalez against the left-handed starter.
He likes hitting here, though, over his career. 7 big flies here at PNC Park. I would think today, I know there's statistics for everything, but I would think to have this many pronounced shifts has got to increase the chances to give up those fluke hits. You would think. You would think.
But it really doesn't play out that way. Amazingly so. Hey, there's a little looper out the other way, but run down by David Freese, the lone member of the left side of the infield after the shift. Moving around like an option quarterback out there.
Yeah, this was one of those almost right on cue, but I think with David Freese being the only guy over there, he knows there's no controversy on who could be around him. And Locke enjoying that. It's interesting, though, just to touch on the shift. The batting averages have gone up against the shift. It's virtually not been as productive as people would like to think, but we're seeing so many of them. And the way that an out is recorded is also interesting and skews the numbers a little bit.
2 out for Yasiel Puig.
So in other words, if it would have been a traditional defense and you hit a ball to a second base spot, or like we saw a ball hit to the first baseman in the shift shows that it works. There's no, I mean, we got all the other kind of metrics that talks about run save and deficient and defense efficiency and all that. So it's all dynamics we're having to sift through and try to figure out as we come up with all these new theories and new philosophies.
Well, in certain cases, I think we all understand, as Puig doesn't like that strike 2 call. I get shifting David Ortiz.
Right.
Puig thought that ball was in. What I don't get is how a kid can come up from AAA and there are runners on, and you're playing him in a shift with like 3 or 4 at-bats in the big leagues. But whatever's happening behind Jeff Locke tonight is working just fine, because he is not allowed a base runner through 5. Galaxy S7 Edge. A 1-0 lead for the Pirates inside PNC Park. And Kenta Maeda back to work in the bottom half of the 5th. Jordy Mercer, Eric Kratz, and Jeff Locke. Just the solo shot by Andrew McCutchen. The lone blemish on either side of the scorecard tonight. Both starters have been outstanding. Jordy Mercer trying to pick up a 9-game hitting streak tonight. They'll send a fly ball out to right center. And there's one away to start the home 5th. Well, we are less than a month away. Tuesday, July 5th on ESPN, the Esurance All-Star Selection Show. July 9th, it's the T-Mobile Home Run Derby on ESPN, and it all leads up to the 2016 All-Star Game. Tuesday, July 12th, 7:30 Eastern, right here on Fox. One gone for Eric Kratz. It promises to be, or at least threatens to be, for fans that aren't in Chicago, a rather lopsided affair in terms of representation. I mean, the Cubs have been kind of the toast of the league this year, and as a result, there are a lot of Cubs that lead at their respective position votes.
Yeah, last year had the same feeling with the Kansas City Royals coming off their World Series experience. The fans were excited and had just about every single player there for a while in the starting rotation.
They lost tonight, as you can see, in Miami. John Lackey treated rather rudely down in South Florida. You know, they came back and snatched one back yesterday when it looked like the Justin Bour Grand Slam was going to lift the Marlins yesterday. The Cubs have lost 5 of their last 6, and they are not healthy right now. They're on the verge of going to that 6-man rotation here, and Joe Maddon's going to try to keep it afloat. Meanwhile, Clint Hurdle, Mike Matheny, and the rest of the NL Central are hoping that this little moment of vulnerability gives the rest of the comers in that division some hope.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, really. If you think about Pittsburgh and St. Louis, I mean, you're not really thinking about winning the division, or you haven't been until recently, and you needed or wanted the Cubs to beat up on some of those teams that were in the wild card hunt that you're hoping to catch.
2 quick outs as Kratz is retired. Here are the leading vote getters in the National League. Yadi Molina, the only Cardinal on the list. A bunch of Cubs, and Cespedes and Harper. That's kind of how you could wrap it all up.
Yeah, I think the one position that should change is Addison Russell. The shortstops in the National League, there's some guys having much better years. Addison Russell's going to go to some, no doubt, some all-star games in the future, but to start would be, or to get in is going to be by a vote to start.
There's Jeff Locke now with 2 away. Well, Corey Seager is probably the guy that should be starting if you want to just talk about performance. Trevor Story could make a pretty good case with his 18 home runs. And those guys are a distant 2nd and 3rd to Addison Russell at the shortstop position. I think all 3 of them will be there.
Yeah.
Well, this will be an interesting plate appearance here, if only for the reason that Jeff Locke is not allowed a base runner tonight. And if he is retired, he'll go right back out there 60 feet 6 inches away and try to continue what has been a masterful performance.
So far, only one mistake by Kenta Maeda. He came in here with the same amount of fly balls as ground balls coming into this start.
And a breaking ball, comebacker for Maeda, and a 1-2-3 5th. To the top of the 6th inning. Jeff Locke still has not allowed a base runner. now. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Vote today, vote tomorrow, vote for your 2016 All-Stars with the Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. Vote at MLB.com/vote and catch all the excitement of the All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 12th live on Fox.
I did that shot right there with my iPhone as I was traveling around.
That's really incredible quality. Jeff Locke has not allowed much of anything. Not a single base runner on his watch through 5. He'll continue here in the top of the 6th inning. Bottom of the Dodgers order, Van Slyke, Ellis, and Maeda.
As I mentioned in the open, he gets success down in the zone. He's been able to move the fastball in and out. Stays away from getting near the belt.
And there's the first Dodger base runner of the night, Scott Van Slyke. That right-handed hitting weapon that we spoke of earlier, with an inning opening double to start the 6th. And for his efforts, Locke receives a nice friendly round of applause.
You see the late kick, you see his hands stay back just enough, and he snatches it at the last minute down the line. Off speed. There's no way, as hard as he hit it, that Freese could react. And an easy double for Van Slyke leading off here in the 6th.
5 perfect innings, certainly a nice accomplishment to start the night. And now Locke will go to work from the stretch for the first time tonight against A.J. Ellis.
The ideal situation is he's going to try to get A.J. to pull the ball and prevent Van Slyke from getting to third, while A.J.'s trying to obviously drive him in because the pitcher's on deck, although he can handle the bat.
This is where, when you read numbers on a team and what they do, the situation is important to put context to. The Dodgers don't sacrifice much, and this really wouldn't be a spot where you'd expect A.J. Ellis to sacrifice, because the pitchers due up next. So just reciting the numbers that they've only had 15 sacrifices this year, next to last in the league, it really doesn't hold any water here.
No, but the nice luxury of having a pitcher that can handle the bat gives you a little bit more flexibility if you're Roberts. If he were to somehow get him over to third without the result of a hit.
Ellis sends it to the opposite field. Well hit. Joyce on his move, and it's over his head. Here comes Van Slyke to score. Back-to-back doubles, and the Dodgers have tied it up in the 6th.
That's just a great piece of hitting ahead in the count, and he picks on a pitch and does both, really. Gets the runner over and in, and gets a double to boot. Joyce playing in right field. It's a shorter porch here, and he just didn't have enough time to get back there. You see the ball bounces up. Easy double. Now Kenta Maeda will definitely look to bunt him over or move him over to third base for sure.
But it has to be an extremely satisfying moment for A.J. Ellis. He had been just 3 for his last 33.
For Kenta, he's got to bunt the ball to third. That's the easiest way to ensure make Freese field it.
And Maeda bunting foul.
Because Jaso is going to be as if he could shake hands with him by the time he's done charging. So as a pitcher in the National League, you've got the easy option of getting it to third base, which secures the runner to third. And then if you pull it back because they've charged you in, you can slash the ball and create a nightmare for the guys that are in the corners anticipating the bunt. So you'll watch Jaso right here. When the pitcher gets ready to deliver, he's going to come in really firmly and be on top by the time he gets the barrel of the bat.
Snap throw down to second. And they've got Ellis picked off at third. Now A.J. just got caught in the ether there. Dave Roberts wants to look at the tape on this.
This is just a great play from his knees. The base runner's got to read the barrel of the bat of the pitcher and anticipate him getting it down, because it's a tough read, and he pulls the bat back and doesn't read it. And Kratz does a great job from his knees. That is a huge out.
And Maeda fouls it away. It certainly looked to me like Dave Roberts was indicating he wanted the video guys to take another look. There really wasn't anything to look at. The tag was clearly applied on Ellis. Perhaps they were wondering if the ball was fouled at the plate by Maeda, or hoping that they could challenge it based on a foul ball, but that was not the case either.
Either that or internally having somebody go down there to look and see what led to the play. But nonetheless, that is a huge pick-me-up after 2 straight doubles to lead off the inning.
Just to confirm that certainly was not a foul ball. Here's the 3-2 home to Maeda. Lined into the opposite field in front of Joyce, a base hit. And as if that pickoff wasn't big enough on its own.
Well, that's what people are going to right away go and say, but the whole circumstances will change. And I told you Maeda can handle the bat. Certainly, had he not got picked off, I think he still would have been bunting, but this is a pretty good athletic pitcher. Swinging a little bit late, but nonetheless Joyce trying to get out in front. Good thing for Joyce that he got leather on that ball.
So as Ray Searage comes out for a visit, we can take another look at the play at second.
Got to get an aggressive lead when you're the base runner at second with a pitcher on, because you have to get to third. If that ball is bunt, you got to read the play. Nice job by staying home for the shortstop. They know what their play. They're looking to get the runner out at first, and in case he gets too big of a jump or too big of a lead, they can throw behind him. That play was done by Kratz not being able to get up and throwing from his knees. So Ellis knows that very well, being a catcher.
So now Kike Hernandez, a run in, one away, and a runner at first. Hernandez on the first pitch, ground softly to third for Freeze. Maeda to second on out number 2.
I thought Freeze could go to second base easy on this with the pitcher running. I don't know if he lost track of the outs, or this ball was first hit. You know, you got the pitcher running, so watch right here. I think he's got plenty of time. Easily could get him at second. But he had made his mind up the whole way to go to first. So now a runner in scoring position, although be it the pitcher, good athlete. The Dodgers have a chance to take the lead.
Justin Turner 0 for his first 2 tonight. And that makes him just 2 for his last 24 against left-handed pitching.
Also got to be careful on the first pitch to Turner, so look for an off-speed changeup, something away. Turner loves hitting with runners in scoring position.
On the first pitch, lifts a fly ball into very shallow left. Marte is there for it, and the Dodgers will have to settle with 1 in the 6th. Back-to-back doubles have evened the score. We are through 5.5 in Pittsburgh. The Dodgers and Pirates all tied at 1. Premium is the #1 live streaming sports service. It delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Right here's where it gets a little dicey for Kenta Maeda. Third time through the lineup. Something he's trying to adjust as he pitches in Major League Baseball. His first 2 at bats, pretty darn good. But then the third at bat, well over 300, and that's where the Dodgers will be looking to hopefully get him through this inning and possibly one more. But this is where it changes.
Counts 2 balls and no strikes on John Jaso, who has walked and grounded to second. There, the splits you talk about, John, really quite exaggerated. Third time through the lineup, not nearly as successful for Maeda.
And the difference, really, if he trusts his fastball early, it makes him confident that he could have it late. But if it's the reverse and he relies on his off-speed pitches, with the exception of the first hitter in both the first inning and here, now both starting with 3-0 counts, that's going to get a little squirmy for the Dodgers bullpen, I would assume.
And he loses Jaso on 4 pitches, as he did to start the bottom of the first. 2 walks tonight, and they both belong to John Jaso.
You know, this game's an amazing game. The mental capacity at which to play it, not only 162 games, but as a hitter when you lose confidence, or as a pitcher. But then the internal clock sometimes for pitchers knows what inning it is. No one even has to tell them. So you've got to get through that. You've got to change the habits, change your mindset, so that you can get past that little barrier, whatever that is, for each own guy's career.
Starling Marte now. We just saw A.J. Ellis go out and chat with Maeda. We talked to Dave Roberts about how Maeda is coming along with the English language, and he said it's still kind of a struggle. He uses his interpreter, as most people are comfortable with that, including Kenta himself. But there was a little baseball English exchange between he and A.J. Ellis there.
Yeah, well, that is look out first pitch, even though you threw 4 straight balls to this guy. He did. He came out swinging. He loves to swing at the first pitch. Just does most of the Pirates. And normally when a pitcher throws 4 straight balls, you're often told to make him throw a strike. Well, not in this case, because of the success that Marte has had on first pitches, hitting a cool 500.
Yeah, that's a team-wide, a lineup-wide dynamic for the Bucks. As a team, they hit .404 when they put the first pitch of a plate appearance in play. Only the Royals and Mariners are better in that regard.
And that's not swinging every time first pitch, but that's being aggressive, knowing to pick your spots, looking for a ball in the area. Obviously, that's balls put in play, because there's many times where you'll swing and miss or foul it off.
Andrew McCutchen waits next. His solo home run in the 4th got the Pirates on the board first. The Dodgers have since tied it on the back-to-back doubles by Van Slyke and Ellis in the 6th. Jaso not a threat to run from first, and that one misses in on the hands. It's 2-1 to Marte.
See him trying to make sure that he comes in occasionally, even though he doesn't come in a lot. You've still got to keep the hitters honest. For some kind of breaking ball here. 2-1.
Ellis wants it on the corner, and the slider makes him swing and miss. It's 2-2.
So comfortable with that slider, he'll throw it in any count, basically. And he throws this pitch right here. Perfect spot. Earlier in the 2nd at bat, he threw a curveball inside, which is rare. Curveball inside, a front door curveball that fooled Marte. Don't know if he'll go back to that right here on a 2-2 count.
You know, there are stories of players that come to the major leagues from other countries, whether they're position players or pitchers, and they try to adjust to what they think their new league is going to be. Kenta Maeda has not changed his stripes at all. He had a terrific 8-year career in Japan and basically lived the same way there that he is here in the big leagues. Sliders, work the outside part of the plate. His strikeout numbers may have been a little higher in Japan, but the way he goes about it is the same. And Marte gets to him for a base hit to right field.
That's a great piece of hitting right there. Almost an emergency swing. Think about Marte and his success against right-handed hitters. It's going to be because of stuff like this. This is a slider that's down. He stays on it, shortens the swing, and hits an easy hole to right field. The Pirates are in business right after they gave up the lead, looking to take it right back.
You know, if Starling Marte's left foot was still giving him all kinds of trouble, for him to plant, lock that front foot, that left foot, and then shoot the ball the other way, you know he's got to be feeling a little better. At least that's the hope in Pittsburgh. A little discussion on the mound now. Maida's translator is out along with pitching coach Rick Honeycutt. And a dangerous situation ahead because Andrew McCutchen has already homered tonight as we take another look at it via StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services.
Yeah, if you're ever going to get feeling good again, you can look at this tape right here. Exit velocity 107 with 427 feet of absolute feel good. McCutchen would like to start feeling much better about his performances if he can continue swings like that. And the Pirates, to a man, I don't think they would ever admit this, but this is almost a must-win game in this series because they know what's looming tomorrow. Clayton Kershaw is must-see TV and almost win every time he pitches. So if you're the Pirates, you feel like this opportunity you have right here, taking the first 2 games of a series and then take your chances with the best pitcher in the game. You'd like to be up 2-0 versus 1-1 in the series, that's for sure.
You saw the right-hander Joe Blanton getting hot in a hurry behind Maeda, who's approaching 90 pitches here, and without an out, has to deal with McCutchen, runners at first and second.
Well, the hope of getting him through this inning cleanly and then possibly the 7th is pretty much gone. So now he's fighting this inning and fighting himself to lock back in on now all Pirates' 3rd at bats against him.
To 2 balls and no strikes on McCutchen.
This is where you got to make your best slider pitch on a 2-0 count, because if it's a fastball anywhere over the plate, McCutchen's going to be coming out of his shoes looking for one area and one area only. So even if it's a slider, you can't hang it because it'll act like a fastball to where McCutchen is trying to set his eyes for one pitch. There it was, the slider, a real good pitch that McCutchen was able to hang in there and not swing. So now 3-0, similar to the home run count that he had, 3-0. Kenta Maeda worked himself back to a 3-2 count, and then ultimately that 3-2 count resulted in a home run.
David Freese waiting next, still nobody out. Once again, first and second here with a opportunity for Pittsburgh to open up a bigger advantage. Jam shot pop up that'll get into the seats mercifully for the Pirates. And McCutchen gives himself a green light on 3-0. He would have hated to lose that opportunity on a pop out.
Yeah, especially a 3-0 slider. That's that confidence I talked about with Kenta Maeda. You got to be pretty sure to be sitting on something that's spinning. But see how it was middle of the plate? Even if he was sitting on fastball, it looked good enough. And now you got a little bit of doubt if you're McCutchen on whether or not you're going to see a 3-1 fastball. I would think he'd still sit in the next 2 pitches on a breaking ball.
Here is the 3-1. A fastball whacked into left field. Van Slyke is back, and that one is gone. The Andrew McCutchen Show. That's going to be all for Kenta Maeda. And that 3rd time through the lineup once again bites the Dodgers starter. A pair of home runs for Andrew McCutchen. The Buccos enjoy their biggest lead of the night. A pitching change. The score in Pittsburgh, Andrew McCutchen 4. The Dodgers 1. We'll be right back. In the first, but a solo shot in the fourth and a 3-run home run in the sixth, and I think we can fairly say that McCutchen has had the better end of his 3 at-bats with the Dodgers starter tonight. It's now a Dodger reliever who is inserted into the box score as Joe Blanton takes over for the departed Maeda with nobody out in the sixth. Started out so well did Maeda. Did not allow a hit through 3, and the big problem tonight, Andrew McCutchen, 2 home runs, all 4 RBIs.
Joe Blanton has really changed not only his physical appearance, but the way he pitches, making a comeback as a starter for most of his career. He's been able to be pretty nasty out of the pen. 3rd lowest opponent's batting average among relievers and a minimum 100 at bats. Pretty nice job for that pen that's had to eat up. Another 4 innings tonight. 21 times already this year the bullpen has had 4+ innings, and this would be 8th time. Now 9 in June.
David Freese grounds sharply to third for Justin Turner. That's the first out of the inning. Let's take you back to the end of the McCutchen at bat.
Yeah, I want you to watch the last 2 pitches. All right, here's the 3-1 pitch. Notice where that was. The first 3 were away, but that same fastball location, that's why McCutchen didn't see anything different. When that slider hung in that position and then he tried to sneak a fastball by him, that's what happened. And the other thing that was amazing about McCutchen that we talked about a little bit is that top hand of his bat. He's lightened it up a little bit, and before impact, we'll hopefully show you one more shot of his top hand, what happens as he goes through and gets ready to attack the baseball.
There's Matt Joyce now with 1 away. Joyce is 0 for 2 tonight. They have come in bunches for Andrew McCutchen. The 2 home runs tonight. This is his 2nd multi-home run game of the year. He had a 3 home run game at Coors Field at the end of April. So of his 12 this season, 5 of those have come in 2 nights.
I'd say he's getting more comfortable in the third spot, which is where he was doing most of the production in his career. I know people are going to say, what's the difference? But it is a big difference sometimes when you're used to a certain spot in the order, especially when you've had tremendous numbers like he's had. And you start the season, everybody talked about it. They were on the same page. He goes in the number 2 spot of the order, and he struggles mightily up until this point.
And there's ball 4 to Joyce.
So let's go back to the swing. I want you to focus on the top hand. See how the fingers are off the bat right there, and then watch right before contact. He then closes and fires. So that grip pressure, which a hitter could tempt getting bad streaks just like anybody else, has got to feel a lot better for this young man, which he knows everybody's talking about getting Kutch going. And right now, that is a much better feeling. 2 swings in a row now leaving the field.
Well, we went on the air tonight and talked about how what the Pirates need is their leader. And tonight, Andrew McCutchen has led and then some. There's Josh Harrison bunting foul.
And you look, I'm a big believer. He started out slow last year, and everybody gets kind of going with the, is this a trend going the wrong way? I do not think so, because this man is so talented. He has such a quick bat that I think you'll see him end up 270 or above before the season's over. And if they can get that mojo going, that confidence, their leader, it carries over. Their offense has done a nice job this year, and then pitchers, they just got to pick up the slack, simply put.
A ball and a strike to Josh Harrison now.
They've talked about already some interest in Liriano with other teams. There's such a need throughout baseball for starting pitching. I just don't know where you're going to get it and how you're going to get it.
Yeah. Well, the little rut that the Pirates are hoping to get out of this weekend, and they started by winning last night's opener. They started the series having lost 20 out of 26 games. Their worst stretch since September of 2012. And 2012, by the way, was their last losing season. June has been particularly unkind to the lineup. 27th in runs scored. They have the second worst strikeout rate in baseball this month. But they had a big offensive night last night. McCutchen's done the heavy lifting tonight. And one of Clint Hurdle's, one of his kind of baseball witticisms that he likes to tell the media after every game around here, after a bad one, is shower it off. We're good showerers around here. We'll shower this one off. And they showered off much of the month of June in hopes that yesterday, last night's win, was kind of a jumping off point. Now here are some of the numbers inside the June swoon, if you will. The batting average down 50 points from where it was in April and May, and the ERA almost 2 points north of where it was to start the season. There goes a runner. Harrison fouls it away. They gave Joyce a little head start. You know, the All-Star break is a battery charger time for everybody, and for the Pirates, the hope is you can get into, with all due respect, a little more generous stretch of schedule. This has been tough sledding here for Pittsburgh.
No doubt. They need to squeeze through this last few games before the break and just start feeling good about themselves, and then feel like they could play their best baseball in the second half.
Harrison fouls off another. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes.
We also mentioned in the open one of the keys to the game was get a starter through 6 innings, which they've been able to do, and possibly can get some more out of Jeff Locke, because the Pirates still, as much as they've struggled pitching, after 8 innings with the lead, they're undefeated. And they also, when they don't have the lead after 8, they haven't won a game. So it's pretty big splits. But after 6, they've got a tremendous record at 30-2. So this is really a simple formula.
It's a full count now. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
For the Dodgers, as you look forward, as they get closer to the All-Star break, they'll have a couple pitchers coming back themselves. But the question's going to be, how many pitchers does it take to get it done outside of Clayton Kershaw?
Yeah.
That's where they're going to have to find somebody else to get hot.
Joyce runs again, and again it's fouled away. Yeah, I mean, you know, short of Hershiser, Koufax, and Drysdale coming back, nobody's going to compare with Kershaw, that's for sure. The rest of the staff is always going to be known as, quote, and others. But the and others are going to get a lot better, a lot healthier at least, when Hyun-Jin Ryu and Brandon McCarthy return to the rotation. And the good news for the Dodgers is that there's a chance that that could happen for both before the All-Star break. That would put them right on, if not slightly ahead of schedule. Joyce runs again.
Well, when you think about the beginning of the season and all the moves they didn't make or tried to make and didn't work out, they acquired and signed some left-handers. You know, Wood is hurt, Kazmir, Ryu, Kershaw, and people were wondering, can you have a staff with all these kind of left-handed pitching? McCarthy coming back, of course, being a right-hander. But now they've got a lot of choices, but they've got to start making better options work. The depth that they claim they have is something that will benefit them, but it can also be a tough choice.
There goes Joyce again. A swing and a miss, throw down to second base, and Joyce is in there in front of the throw. Not only that, he's going to get to third. Matt Joyce had been started on 3-2 4 times. I thought he was going to have cement shoes on. That last time, the strike him out, throw him out was his fate.
Yeah, this has got to be stopped, though. This throw's got to, at some point, he tries to pick it, does Hernandez, and that just ain't going to get it cut right here. Tried to get the pick and the tag at the same time. You got to find a way to knock that ball down.
So Matt Joyce, that's his first stolen base of the year, by the way. He's not to be mistaken for Ricky Henderson, America. He is absolutely gassed. They started him on 3-2 a bunch of times. Then Harrison strikes out and he steals the base anyway. By the way, that is scored as a stolen base E2, and although A.J. Ellis deserved more help at the bag, it's his error, and it's the first charge to Ellis since 2014.
Well, now, Matt, they have the opportunity to go back and look at it and change it, so maybe they will do that later.
Would you change that?
You know,
if there's no run here, let's say there's no run,
I think it's a play. It's the old adage, does first basemen ever get errors when a ball's thrown in the dirt? To them, no, but they make those plays all the time. So once it hits the dirt, it's removed from the player that is attempting to catch it. So unfortunately, no. But if you're a second baseman like Hernandez, you'd say, I'm supposed to catch that. So maybe he goes up and takes the bullet and tells the official score, put that on me.
Might happen. Next pitch to Jordy Mercer, misses away. It's 3-1. I think Matt Joyce is just now getting his wind back.
Well, Jeff Locke has enjoyed this rest in this inning.
You bet. Into center field and well hit. Thompson on the move, looking up, and that one is gone. And the only guy getting more work than Matt Joyce tonight is the fireworks guy.
It's hard to believe that's only his second home run here at home for Mercer. And he went to the farthest part of it. Well, not the farthest part. Usually center is, but there's a little gap in left field. It's 410. This pitch right over the middle. Head down. Smokes it.
Trace Thompson just ran out of room. Number 4 on the year for Jordy Mercer, the 3rd tonight for the Pirates, and it's given them a 6-1 lead. Counts a ball and a strike to Eric Kratz.
Eric Kratz, just thinking the travels he's made, the places he's been. probably won't come down to this, but if it did, and the Pirates were to get a playoff spot by 1 game, you could say that home run against Bumgarner when he hasn't had many hits.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's a returnee to the Pirates, Eric Kratz. He's making just his 7th start since coming back tonight. And I don't know that a single player has made a bigger impact in a game more so than the 1 home run he hit against Bumgarner Monday to win the game. Again, Francisco Cervelli lost due to injury. They reacquire Kratz to help out with Chris Stewart, as John mentioned earlier. If you need help at catcher and you think you have a route, you think you have a player, you better go get him, because there are probably a dozen-plus teams that all think they need help at catcher.
Yeah, it's a position I don't know why you'd ever choose in the first place, so getting that out of the way. Once you've chosen it, it's a great route to the big leagues. It's the fastest route, I think, but the punishment you take and the wear and tear on catchers, that's why the commodity is so important, and there's very few of them that can do both, meaning hit for average, and be defensive at the same time.
Kratz is still hanging around with a 3-2 count. Just within the division, the Cubs have had injuries at catcher. David Ross isn't going to be out there every day. The Cardinals have been looking for somebody to back up Yadi Molina all year long as Brian Pena's hurt. The Brewers have a real good one, but it's doubtful that they'll trade Jonathan Lucroy to a division rival. To the shortstop hole, a good play by Seager to retire Kratz, but all told, the Pirates send 8 batters to the plate. They got on the board for 5 big runs. Andrew McCutchen's 2nd of the game, Mercer's 4th of the year, and the Pirates have their biggest lead of the night. The results in relief. Jeff Locke continues. He faces Corey Seager to lead things off, who on the first pitch sends a gapper into right center, and Seager's into second with a leadoff double. We want to show you what happened between innings. It looked like Joe Blanton was wet, and here's why. A combination of perspiration and Gatorade.
And good workouts, because you got to be pretty strong to do that. just hate seeing it, but you know you're frustrated as a pitcher who's had a pretty good run and then gave up some of those. Well, this could be an interesting inning as we watch Sean Rodriguez go to first base because of the length of time that Jeff Locke was sitting in the dugout. Those always have some adverse effects for a pitcher. Even though he's glad he now has a 5-run lead, he's going to have to throw up a 0. Started out with a double already.
There's Trace Thompson now looking for his first base hit tonight. An 88 blown past him. Boy, they have challenged Thompson with that 88 to 91 up around the shoulders all night. Into the corner and slicing out of play. Well, our Budweiser game summary, and it looked like one of those pitching and defense nights to start the ball game, and it was, because both Kenta Maeda and Jeff Locke were in control through the first third of the ball game. A home run by Andrew McCutchen started the scoring in the 4th. The Dodgers got their run on back-to-back doubles in the 6th. And then a pair of home runs, including McCutchen's second of the night, a 3-run shot, has pushed the Pirates' lead to 6-1. Oh, 2 to Thompson, misses inside. Tomorrow, Clayton Kershaw in the Sunday game. That'll be a PM start tomorrow night here at PNC. And then the series wraps around with game 4 on Monday. Strike 3 looking. Time for a game break, a postseason rematch from last year. Kevin Burkhardt has the details in Kansas City. KB. Wow, a little. Thanks, KB. A little sweet revenge for the Astros after being 4 outs away from beating the Royals in the division series last year. Runner at second, 1 gone here, and they'll bring back Adrian Gonzalez. Are you one that is buying the Astros getting back into the dialogue in the AL West, because there's still 9 games between they and the Rangers?
I am. They're playing much better. I can't believe they started off in the fashion they did. Of course, they had some leaky bullpen and early on, lose some close games. That can take the air out of the ball club when your bullpen lets you down a little bit, but offensively they're back. And I think when they get Keuchel going, each team that has struggled with the expectations so far this year of their superstars probably have a little bit to do with that.
Another young potential Astros phenom called up today. A.J. Reed, ranked as their #2 prospect. DH today. 22 runs in not even 2 games against the defending World Series champs over the weekend so far for Houston.
Man, it's been a strange year, a streaky year for teams. We're seeing all kinds of things already in the first half.
Gonzalez lines into the shift. Harrison is there in that rover position to take a hit away from him. They're 2 gone.
That would be a definition of a shift, even though the second baseman has the luxury to play that deep against a guy that doesn't play or run very fast. See, I think you'll get an argument from some players when you have an athletic second baseman like Harrison. Let him be the athlete. Don't bring everybody over into an area and make him uncomfortable. That's the biggest complaint, because then you put people out of position and you create opportunities that would normally have not been there.
Here's Yasiel Puig now. He's 0 for 2 tonight. You know, I wanted to pay this off from earlier today, John. We talked about Puig when he lined out on the first pitch he saw in the second, and we kind of mentioned it going to break, that it was another 1-pitch plate appearance for Yasiel Puig. He has had an inordinate number of plate appearances end with just that 1 pitch. the highest percentage in baseball. Almost 25% of his plate appearances are one-pitch outs.
Yeah, and he's got 17 first pitch hits, so he's been able to have success, but he's also really aggressive and not letting the pitcher get too deep in the counts.
The Dodgers are hopeful as he takes a strike that the 5 for 11 since coming off the DL is the start of something good. He's taking issue with Ron Culpa's strike zone here and getting away with a lot.
Yeah, if you remember earlier in the game, he was given an inside up pitch that he didn't like. So he's saying, look, one way or the other, you can't have it up and down. Puig thought that pitch was way too low. It's gotten Locke back in the count here with 2-1 instead of 3-0.
3 balls and a strike.
And that's exactly the pitch I would have thrown. Throw a changeup lower than low and make the aggressiveness of Puig recognize that pitch and swing, but it was too low. So after getting a low fastball called strike, as a pitcher, you know you'd like to make him even angrier if you can go lower than low and expand the zone.
Seager still at second after the leadoff double. 2 gone here, top of the 7th. Dodgers down 6-1. Fastball right down Main Street.
Puig maybe getting caught guessing a little bit here. Fastball, looking for something out over the plate. The awfully tempted to throw in a 3-2 changeup right here. Hard time believing he might sit on the 3-2 changeup.
Here is the payoff pitch. And Puig whacks it into left field, a base hit. They'll hold Seager at third, and wisely so. Puig's on his way to second. Puig never stopped running. That kind of aggressiveness has got him in trouble in the past, but here it pays off in the form of an extra base.
Well, I think he sits on that changeup and gets a hit, and I really believe he thought the runner was going to score. So he takes off right now, and he sees the throw. Nope, I'm wrong. He sees the throw, and it's high, so he takes a calculated risk instead of just going the whole time. If you think there's going to be throw at the plate, obviously when you're down this kind of runs, you've got to be absolutely sure. So Puig looks, sees the throw's high, and takes the extra base.
Call it a single. Puig advances on the throw home. And here comes Ray Searage out to chat with Locke. Scott Van Slyke is scheduled. Well, the Dodgers with an opportunity now to get right back in it after they give up the 5 in the 6th. Second and third with 2 gone.
That's a good mound visit right here. They're going to just start action in the Pittsburgh pen. Police former closer trying to get ready as you hear the sound of the telephone. That's a horrible sound for a starting pitcher. At least it was for me.
Is that what that was?
Yeah. That's the phone, and you can hear it in some stadiums.
That's a phone. That sounded like the Jetsons phone.
Well, I think on purpose in some places, especially for us early, it was a loud ring just to let you know you're on borrowed time.
It sounds like your ears are still in tune for that ring from your closer days.
Oh, that's a good point. That was a different ring, anticipated ring.
Locke trying to finish 7 innings tonight, and his first offering to Van Slyke is fouled away. This would really be a positive step for Jeff Locke, who again on the heels of 2 nightmarish starts went 6 2/3 shutout baseball Monday against the Giants. He's trying to finish 7 innings with 1-run ball here against the Dodgers tonight. I'm sure you were around a lot of staff mates during your career that had home and road splits like Jeff Locke's. He's great here at PNC, not so much on the road, and I'm sure they're all aware of it.
Yeah, it's a tough thing when it starts being played over and people are asking you, what are you doing different? How can you not make the change? What's different on the road? And I'll tell you, it's just really been kind of that year, feast or famine. He's been excellent in his wins, 6 wins, low ERA. I've never seen an ERA at 14 or above in his losses. Now that one game kind of hurts that a lot, 11 runs. But just that one game isn't going to give you a 14 ERA. So he's given up 7 and 8 on the road. I've never seen that big gap like that for a starter who's made all his starts.
Well, he gave up 18 runs in the 2 starts leading into Monday's shutout. And a swing and a miss gets him through 7 with only 1 run allowed tonight. Jeff Locke, brilliant at home at PNC, still leading 6-1. Is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and the exhilarating new Lincoln MKZ. And by Sprint. Switch and save today. Learn more at sprint.com/network. Well, back with Hall of Famer John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian on a really lovely night in Pittsburgh, and it's been a really enjoyable night for the Pirates. Jeff Locke has enjoyed the 6 runs of support and is receiving congratulatory salutations after 6 great innings on the mound. Last of the 7th, and the Pirates will start things with a pinch hitter in Locke's spot. The Dodgers go to work with a reliever on the mound. He is a right-hander, Pedro Baez, who will work to one of the newest Pirates. A flurry of roster activity yesterday with the Pirates, and among those called up, Adam Frazier, making just his 3rd plate appearance here tonight. Frazier called up in part because of the day-to-day nicks and cuts in the Bucks outfield. McCutchen with the thumb, although it appears to be fine tonight. Marte with the foot. Polanco with a leg. So the 24-year-old former 6th rounder out of Mississippi State comes up from AAA, where he had been enjoying a fine season at Indianapolis. Line to right. Puig back on it. There's 1 away.
Well, you know how, like, it's going to be a little random for you, but you're used to working there, so random is. You know, some people, they get a chance to sing the national anthem and they make it a career opportunity. Like, they make it last as long as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Pedro Baez can do that with the art form of pitching. He can take a long time per pitch, making the most of the opportunity. He's got a lot of mannerisms. He digs at the mound. He takes his time. In a game where you don't want to have that happen to the fielders behind him, sometimes he takes a little too much time. Snickers commercial sometimes.
Sean Rodriguez making his 1st plate appearance tonight.
I don't know if that segue was good or if it even was relevant.
I know what you're getting at to a degree. You were being extremely diplomatic in describing the inordinate amount of time between pitches that Pedro Baez takes.
Yes.
I mean, this guy makes Rafael Betancourt look like Bob Gibson. I'll take it one further.
But he does have a good arm.
Somewhere in the world, Steve Traxel is at home watching. Come on, hurry up.
When they first came out with those numbers, Steve tried to defend himself, and that he actually didn't spend as much time out there because he was successful, but he did take a little bit of time between pitches.
The breaking ball misses outside. You know, there are a couple of slow workers in the game today. Baez is out there with him. Joaquin Benoit in Seattle, same.
Yeah, a lot of mannerisms,
a lot of
touch
stuff going on between pitches, shaking off a lot of foul balls.
And then it'll slow down even more when runners get on. So it's just the mannerisms of which he goes through. So he takes his glove off. He's always going to touch his pants usually. There you go. And then he's going to have the opportunity to adjust his hat every once in a while. Take the sleeve, go to the hat. He's going through a series of signs right now that's actually telling the catcher what pitch he's about to throw. Not really, but I thought I'd.
I mean, in the end of the day, if he pitches a scoreless inning, nobody minds.
No, exactly.
And Rodriguez fouls that one off. Sean Rodriguez came on as a defensive replacement last half inning. And much like A.J. Burnett in years past here in Pittsburgh, he occupies a great place in Pirates franchise lore because he is one of the few Pittsburgh Pirates that looks like an actual pirate.
Here's the good news, though. When Baez is on the mound, you can get a lot of good stories in.
Ah, that's right. Let me go to my research manual.
But there is the Pirates that you're talking about.
Right.
There's less of them. There was about 7 or 8 of them earlier in that spot. And your pass list has officially showed up, Matty.
Arr. Two balls and 2 strikes. The count to Rodriguez from Pedro Baez with 1 away. That one put in play for the shortstop Seager, and 2 gone here in the 7th. Jeff Locke and Eric Kratz working very well together tonight. Terrific line for him, and in line for his 7th winner of the year.
Yeah, they need that. They need Liriano to get going too. They need their staff to just be half of what they've been, because it's really been a bad year for the pitching staff as a whole. The rankings in ERA and the runs that they've given up. The Pirates are not out of it. I know it sits 5 games going into this game outside the wild card, but they are not out of it. I've seen this run before. They were 11 games out a couple years ago and made that run to the 1-game playoff. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be a division again this year that they could achieve, but getting to the playoffs, that's the key right now.
Well, we know this, that Joe Maddon certainly doesn't think the Pirates are out of it.
Nope.
He told us as much last weekend when we had the Cubs, and Joe was quick to cite the year that he took the Tampa Bay Rays to the World Series in 2008. They lost 7 games coming out of the All-Star break, and whatever momentum they had, it seemed to vanish right after the layoff. The Cubs are on guard for that kind of letdown this year for sure. There's too much talent on this Pirates team for them to go away without a fight. Marte back to the mound for Baez. And a 1-2-3 7th. On to the 8th inning tonight. Still 6-1 Pittsburgh. right behind Jeff Locke, and from it they pull the left-hander Tony Watson, who'll make his 32nd appearance of the year tonight, working on a scoreless string of appearances that totals 7 and counting, getting A.J. Ellis to start things in the visitors' 8th. Ellis then the number 9 spot, and then Kike Hernandez here for the Dodgers down by 5. And on the very first pitch, Tony Watson yields a leadoff single to A.J. Ellis. That's Ellis' 2nd hit of the game. So the pinch hitter will be Howie Kendrick, who, as we heard Dave Roberts tell us earlier, was among his options to play left field tonight. Scott Van Slyke got that call, so Kendrick off the bench. And the Dodgers still with a puncher's chance tonight.
Yeah, it's been a real weird week. Teams have had some monster comebacks. There's been some situations where you thought were going to be safe, even as much as last night. The Boston Red Sox against the hot Rangers, scoring 4 in the 9th.
Crazy.
Trailing by 3.
Seattle gets a big 3-run home run to win it in the last of the 9th. Bunch of grand slams this week.
It has been a crazy week. Springer in 1 inning, the very first inning yesterday, hits a grand slam and triple.
First inning.
First inning.
Well, today they got Jose Altuve is just a triple shy of the cycle tonight. They're putting on another big number against the Royals. Kendrick with a drive out to the opposite field. That ball is crushed and off the wall. Ellis is held at third.
This ball was absolutely crushed coming off the bench, just missing a home run. Now 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. And Watson has been greeted rudely. Good fastball, but this time it was over the middle of the plate. Looking to get it away. Kendrick stayed inside, squared it up. Clean double.
So now the top of the order, Kike Hernandez hitless tonight. Runners at 2nd and 3rd with nobody out, and Pirates fans do not want to be reminded of the 6-1 lead that was blown Wednesday against the Giants. Hernandez with a wave and a miss.
Good changeup right there. In this situation, Hernandez is not interested in moving the runners over just for the sake of moving them. He's trying to keep the line moving and get another hit. But nonetheless, you certainly don't want to strike out. You would love to be able to put the ball in play and move the runners and hopefully get a hit.
There is something of a home game feel for this one for Kike Hernandez as he splinters a bat there on that foul ball. Kike's dad, Enrique Sr., is a scout for the Pirates. He works and lives in Puerto Rico, and he's here at PNC Park this weekend for the first time. He is in a personal battle of his own, speaking of Kike's dad, Enrique Sr., with cancer. And if Kike looks a little different with his trademark locks cut short, it was to show support for his dad. Trying to keep this thing going here on 0-2. A good opportunity here for the Dodgers to get back in it late in the 8th. A ball and 2 strikes now.
Some good off-speed pitches early. See the one swing and the miss, and then a hit off the end of the bat.
Justin Turner next, and then Seager. This is a Dodger team that's been held without a home run tonight, something that hasn't happened in the last couple of weeks. And a swing and a miss. First out of the inning.
They started him out slow, and then he goes fastball, and he rides this one above the belt. And it's just an aggressive approach by Hernandez, and wasn't able to put it in play. Those hurt. I don't care what the score is. And everyone will say it's just a strikeout, but strikeouts don't move runners, don't get RBIs. And when you're down 6-1 in the first two guys reach, you've got to keep that line moving.
Here's Justin Turner now. He too has been held hitless so far tonight. He'll take a moment to think about things. Only 5 hits for Los Angeles tonight. You know, back to the Dodgers swinging for power, and when they won 6 in a row, the home run was the weapon of choice. They've got a current stretch that is in jeopardy of going away tonight, of homering in 14 straight games. They've won 9 of those 14. If they homer tonight and they're running out of time, that would be their longest streak since 1977. And the 77 Dodgers were a notable team in franchise history, as it was the first ever team to have 4 players with 30 or more home runs at the end of the season. That one misses down and in. It's 2 balls and a strike to Turner.
Kratz saw something he didn't like, either from the runner at second or something that Watson has done. He's going to remind him here. Other than Seager, Turner's the best runners in scoring position for the Dodgers. And you see right there that a bit of a cut changeup.
Two-1 is fouled away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Can I regale you on a little trivia here? Can you and I play our own little trivia game? I know how competitive you are.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Can you name the 4 Dodgers, the teammates who all hit 30 home runs in 1977? First team in Major League history to have 4 30 home run players.
Well, I would think Garvey's on that list and say.
He is. Yep, both of them are.
Probably thinking Dusty Baker.
Yep. 1 more.
Don't know if I would have got. I don't know if I can get the 4th guy.
Reggie Smith. In what was Tommy Lasorda's first year, first full season as Dodger skipper. Two balls and 2 strikes. It remains to Justin Turner. Did he check it? Yes, he did, and it'll be a full count now.
Well, great pitch and an unbelievable great take at the last minute, because that looks awfully good. He didn't tip it. As you look at this side angle, close, but not.
And the 3-2 pitch home. Struck him out. 2 big punch outs.
Watson's got a really good arm, and it sets up this electric fastball after you see some changeups. And 3-2, he goes, you know what? My fastball's better. And at 3-2, he proved it. Now he's facing the hottest hitter and the best hitter for the Dodgers right now, Seager, with 2 outs.
Seager's leadoff double in the 7th extended his hitting streak to 9 straight. And another plate appearance for him against a tough left-handed opponent. Watson starts him with a strike.
"22 years old. More than likely your rookie of the year. At the rate he's going, some MVP votes are headed his way.
You know, we asked Dave Roberts before the game, because you hear so often of the plan to manage innings of younger players, more so for pitchers. We asked if there was anything formal in place for Seager, and Dave, who has as good a feel for personnel as any manager in baseball, said we're just going to watch him and manage him the way we would anybody. If he looks like he needs a day or a couple of days, we'll give it to him, but there's no formal plan in place with him. He's been our best player.
He did say that he went to give him a day off, and then later received a appearance telling him, I want to play.
Yeah.
I would like to play.
ball and 2 strikes to Corey Seager. You know, so we know that older brother Kyle got there first. Corey's the guy who has this blazing hot future. And yes, there is another Seager in the pipeline, America. A third Seager brother who is also Mariners property. Justin Seager just got called up to Double-A in the Mariners developmental chain. Just missed the corner.
Well, yesterday there was a neat interaction between the brothers of Mets catcher Darno.
Oh yeah,
and the Braves.
That's right.
Brother of his.
I mean, they're talking about both Seagers being all-stars this year with an opportunity to play against each other, representing the American and National Leagues. And you know, we hear all about the baseball families. It's specifically 3 brothers that have played Major League Baseball. It's rare. I mean, the Alous,
Drews,
the Drew brothers. I'm talking about 3 though. To have 3 brothers, the Molinas, the catching Molinas.
All 3 of the Drews got drafted #1.
Well, that's right.
That could never happen again.
Did you was Pascual Perez before your time in Atlanta?
Yeah.
So all the Perez brothers, and Carlos was a Dodger, a very good Dodger for a little while. Pascual, Melito, and Carlos all pitched in the big leagues.
Ramon and Pedro got to play together for a short time in LA.
The 3-2 struck him out. Tony Watson, with runners at second and third, strikes out the top of the order and gets out of the 8th unscathed. Andrew McCutchen has been the Pirates' hero tonight. He'll lead off the bottom of the inning. Cool under pressure moment belongs to Andrew McCutchen. Not 1 but 2 moments, because he's hit not 1 but 2 home runs on this night.
Yeah, that's got to feel real good for him and his teammates. Kutch knows the deal. He knows what he's got to do, and he's got to start doing it a little more often. Not necessarily hitting home runs, but getting on base at a little better rate than he has coming into this game and so far this season.
Howie Kendrick stays in the ballgame and takes over at second base. But playing second base here with Andrew McCutchen at the plate means that he's in a shift and really playing the shortstop spot behind the new pitcher. That's left-hander J.P. Howell. McCutchen, Freeze, and Joyce.
J.P. Howell can fall off the mound with the best of them. His funky mechanics, a lot of sinkers. You won't see much velocity at all. He's trying to use the funky motion and off speeds to trick up the hitter.
2 balls and a strike to McCutchen.
McCutchen's been ahead of the count in these good situations where he's hit homers.
A little pop for Gonzalez and 1 away to start the last of the 8th. Tuesday, July 5th on ESPN, the Esurance All-Star Selection Show. Then on July 11th, it's the T-Mobile Home Run Derby on ESPN. All this leads up to the 2016 MLB All-Star Game. Tuesday, July 12th at 7:30 Eastern, right here on Fox.
Beautiful. San Diego.
Cannot wait. Cannot wait. There's a chance none of us will return to our respective homes. Here's David Freese batting with 1 gone.
I'm returning if I don't bring my clubs, but if I bring my clubs, there's a good chance I don't return. Just as long as I got my clubs.
Find you on the back 9 at Torrey Pines. Roll out a sleeping bag. 2 balls and no strikes. David Freese was an all-star back in 2012. And though likely not headed to San Diego, he has had a really good resurgence season with Pittsburgh. He's played a much larger role with this team than anybody could have imagined when he signed very late last winter.
Yeah, in signing late, he wasn't a huge contract. A nice monetary value is keep things in perspective, but in baseball contracts, a low value for what they're getting excellent returns is Pittsburgh.
And to say he signed in the winter isn't even right. He signed in March. Spring training was already 2 weeks old. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Bud Light. Raise one to right now. And by Arm & Hammer and OxyClean, official partners of Major League Baseball. One out, 1 on for Matt Joyce, looking for a little late insurance with the Pirates up by 5 rather.
What's amazing about the Pirates, they parted ways with a couple players in Walker and Alvarez, and they really haven't missed a beat. You think about the numbers that have been replaced. So offensively in their third base platoon with Gong coming back and really being outstanding since his injury, not playing in April. And virtually the same pitching staff, but not really having close to that production. So if they can find ways to right the ship and get through this stretch and get their starters going a little bit. I love their offense. I love their athleticism and the way they play the game, and they can create many different ways to score runs.
Yep. They enjoy a lot of versatility too. There are good right-handed and left-handed hitting options. Matt Joyce is not a guy that's going to start 162 games for you, but he, like David Freese, has had a great resurgent season here. Ironically, both of those guys were Angels last year and struggled. There's a strike. It's 2-1 to Joyce. Earlier this month, Matt Joyce hit his 100th career home run. That's not going to get you to Cooperstown, but when you consider how long this game's been played, there are only 850 or so players that have hit as many as 100 home runs in the majors. They're going to double him off as the lone guy on the left side of the infield starts the double play to end the last of the 8th. Thompson, Gonzalez, and Puig, last chance for the Dodgers as we go to the 9th. Returns a rematch of last year's NLCS. Cubs and Mets, or the Angels battle the Red Sox. Some will see the Reds and Nationals. All begins at 7 Eastern on your local Fox station. And it's a game you can only see on FS1 between the Yankees and Padres, or you can watch it all live on Fox Sports Go. Easy for me to say. A.J. Schugel will look to finish this thing out, making his 23rd appearance of the year in his second stint with the big league club this season. He gets the middle of the Dodgers order. Thompson, Gonzalez, and Puig here for Los Angeles.
He has very easy delivery, and he's good down in the zone. His changeup's good with a good arm action, and he goes to it a lot. He's got a curveball also at 77 miles an hour.
Sharply hit to shortstop. Mercer's got it, and there's one away. And now greater coverage of baseball, sponsored by T-Mobile. Jeff Locke had it covered tonight. 7 innings en route to the win. It would be his 7th of the year. Scattered the 5 hits, allowed the 1 run. Struck out 3, and continues his stretch of terrific home performances this year in Pittsburgh. Here's Adrian Gonzalez now, 0 for 3 tonight.
Give you a little perspective. We had a little history last night. This is the 7th pitcher in this game between the two teams, right? Both pitchers went at least 5 innings.
Okay.
Last night that happened. Both pitchers went at least 5 innings. And there were 16 pitchers used. That's the high, obviously, for the year. 16 pitchers between Arizona and Colorado. And they used 5 pitchers to get 4 outs, of which the guy that got 1 out at the best timing got the win. But 16 pitchers nonetheless.
I mean, I get it. It's Denver.
Yeah, but
Diamondbacks and Rockies aren't known for playing their, that's not exactly Bob Gibson and Randy Jones going after each other in an hour and a half.
But I would have thought that would, when you see that number 16, oh, the starters got knocked out early. They didn't.
Gonzalez lifts an opposite field fly ball to left from Marte. Adrian Gonzalez 0 for 4 tonight and batting under 180 in his last 16 games now. He told FoxSports.com senior writer Ken Rosenthal that after a pinched nerve, he felt like he lost his swing a little bit, and he's been trying to find it ever since. That's a guy for whom the break could come at a good time. He's just too good a hitter to stay quiet for very long. As Yasiel Puig now represents a last chance for the Dodgers. And on the first pitch, 1 hops to Rodriguez, who throws behind Schugel, and Puig is safe at first. That's a ball that Sean would probably eat if given a second chance.
Yeah, well, normally because of the shift, you're not that far away from the bag as a first baseman. Rodriguez plays more than one position. You see another first pitch swing, and that's a late start by Schugel. That started it all because Puig can run, and now all Rodriguez is trying to do is gauge, like a quarterback, on a out pattern, how he gets the ball to him in stride, and he wasn't able to do either. But it started with the pitcher making the mistake by not getting going right away.
A pinch hitter now with 2 gone and a runner aboard in the top of the 9th. Jock Peterson will swing the bat instead of Scott Van Slyke. A chance for Dave Roberts to use a left-handed power thread here as Scott's attacked by a mosquito.
Either that or they're coming from his beard. Come on, boys, we got cover.
Strike 1 to Peterson. Schugel an out away from sealing up the Pirates' 7th win this month. It has been a tough month of June indeed. But looking for 2 in a row to start this series.
I know Peterson didn't start today, so he's coming off the bench, but they've really been working all year since Colorado trip, just getting him to have better bat control. This is a guy that basically loves to swing for the fences, so he's been engaged every day with a game of pepper, the old game of pepper, to try to get him to feel the bat and have some bat control, because that's the only way you can play pepper. And what that is you got 4 or 5 guys that stand in a line about 15-20 feet away. They throw the ball to you in various spots, and you got to work at hitting the ball to those corresponding persons that throw you the ball. And early on, it was all man for themselves, because he was hitting rockets in a game of pepper when you're not supposed to be hitting rockets. You're just supposed to be hitting it back to the fielders that are throwing the ball to you.
And Peterson bounces one to Harrison. That'll do it tonight. The Pirates have won 2 in a row to start this 4-game weekend series with the Dodgers. Andrew McCutchen, the hitting star, a pair of home runs. Jeff Locke went 7. And the Pirates are hoping for some late June momentum in what has been a difficult month so far. Perhaps it's a Pirate team about to turn the corner.
Yeah, they're not going to sleep great tonight, but they're going to sleep better. The reason they won't sleep great is Kershaw's waiting for them around the corner tomorrow. But better to face Kershaw in a 4-game series, up 2-0 with nothing to lose, really, against the best pitcher in the planet. And the Pirates got to start feeling better a little bit about their bad stretch they were in.
6-1 Pirates, the final score tonight. After a quick break, Kevin Burkhardt, Dontrell Willis, Frank Thomas back at our Fox Sports studios. For John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian saying so long. Thanks for watching. Once again, our final score tonight. The Pirates have defeated the Dodgers 6-1. So long, everybody.